Greetings, fellow humans. I hope you're having an awesome-tastic day. My name is Baron, and in today's video, we're learning all about the different kinds of camera lenses, what they're used for, so you can take that information, cram it in your noggin, and then when you buy your next lens, you can do so with confidence and authority, because that's a good thing. First, let's talk about the two categories of lenses. The first category are fixed lenses. These are lenses that cannot be removed from the camera. You know, like the lens on your phone. You can't take it off. You can try. I mean, you could probably get a screwdriver in there, but it's not going anywhere without breaking your phone. It's the same with like a GoPro, a camcorder, a point and shoot camera. The second category of lenses are interchangeable lenses. These are lenses you can take off of the camera and then put a different lens on the camera. Just like a DSLR or mirrorless camera, like this one or this one. Now the two main types of lenses are zoom lenses and prime lenses. Zoom lenses, you can stand in the same place, but you can get really close to the subject or you can get farther away from the subject. A prime lens, it doesn't zoom at all. Whatever you see through that lens, that's what it is. If you want to zoom in, you got to use your feet. You gotta get closer. If you need to get farther away, you got to use your feet. You got to get farther away. Now, prime lenses tend to be sharper and a little bit faster. Basically, it means it gets more light inside of it. And they're also smaller and lighter than zoom lenses. Zoom lenses tend to be larger and heavier, but they tend to be more versatile in a lot of situations because of the zoom functionality. You don't have to use your feet to get on in closer. Now let's talk about focal lengths. Focal lengths are measured in millimeters, so the larger the number of millimeters, the more narrow your angle of view and the more magnification you get. What that means is, your friend Johnny is at the other end of the football stadium and you're like, man, he's so far away. But then you look through your lens and you're like, man, he's picking his nose right now and it's clear, what? Or the smaller the number of millimeters, the wider the angle of view, the more stuff you can fit into the frame. Like, oh, look at all the giant mountains, and the lake, and that building, and that guy over there who's not wearing pants, and the duck. Now, there are different categories of focal length. Starting on the wide end with the small, tiny millimeter numbers, you have the ultra wides. That's from about 8 millimeters to about up to 24 millimeters. Now, some of those, when you get into the smaller numbers, that's incredibly wide. It's like GoPro stuff and like, a lot of, or like a fisheye lens. It can distort the image. So that's the danger of some of those. A lot of them are really gonna like warp the image, but that can be cool, right?
I seen a lot of rappers that come and go like Frodo when they sipping the ring, and then I take it.
The next category is the regular wide-angle lenses. Those are like from about 24 millimeters to about around 35 millimeters. Those are pretty wide, but they're not going to distort the image as much, and you can start getting a little bit of that background blur. In the wider angle ones, everything is going to be in focus. You can't really separate the background and blur it out all that much. Next, we get to the normal or standard range of focal lengths. That's the 50 millimeter to around 70 millimeter. Now, this range right here is closest to what we actually see with the human eye. And the other awesome thing about this particular range is this is where you can really start blurring out the background or getting some bokeh. That means you're going to be separating the subject and the background is going to be all like creamy goodness and awesome-tastical things. Once you get past 70 millimeters, then everything is pretty much telephoto. And what that means is it's all zoomy. You can separate the background. It starts doing a thing called lens compression where it makes the background looks like it's closer to the subject. The more you zoom in, it's awesome stuff, man. You really got to get into them zooms, yo. I'm telling you, it's where it's at. And wide angles and all of them. They're all good. Use all focal lengths. Oh, but wait, there's more. There's also macro. Macro is when you get in incredibly close. Now that is more of a focusing thing than it is a focal length, but it is something you need to be aware of. So if you want to take a picture or a video of like a little tiny bug or like just anything like super duper small, you got to get the lens super close to it. Normal everyday lenses, you might be able to get like, a foot from it, or, some of them are really cool. You can be like, wow, I'm only 6 inches away. That's so amazing. But a macro lens, you can almost put the lens like right up on it and you can get super awesome focus and get some crazy bokeh all in a tiny itty bitty squeezed in tiny shot. It's good stuff, and I recommend it to all people who want to do that. They wouldn't actually need my recommendation. Now that we've inundated our brains with glorious information, how are we going to use that information to choose our next lens to buy? The first thing we're going to do is ask, what's our budget? That's going to determine how many lenses you can buy. Is it going to be a couple of primes, or is it going to be one zoom? Know your budget, stick to your budget. Don't go broke for a lens unless it's an awesome lens. Then consider it. The second thing we need to ask ourselves is, what are we shooting? What do we need the lens for? What do we like to do? Are we going to be shooting wildlife, seeing the deers and the birds? Or are we going to be in the stands at a sporting event and we want to get tighter shots of the athletes? Well, then you're probably going to want a telephoto lens. If you're going to be doing portraits and maybe interview shots, that kind of thing, you're probably going to want a normal lens. So figure out what it is that you want to shoot and then pick something that's appropriate for what it is you need. All right, that's everything I got for you today. I hope it helps. If you liked this video, go ahead and click the like. If you didn't like this video, you can click the thumbs down thing or whatever that stuff is. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, there's like the subscribe-y thing, which I recommend because then you'll know, but you have to hit that notification thing. And then there's a panda bear and something about like tutus, and maybe, I don't know how that works, to be honest, but subscribe, like, the usual stuff. Thanks for coming out. Donkeys. I don't know why I said donkeys. They're burro.